We are going to survive the streets of ancient Rome. It's 6 a.m. in the morning, and your VA got to get up early if you want to make something of yourself. In Rome, you make your way down the stairs of your tenement building. The urine smells pungent but familiar, and you carefully step over the piles of it that are used for cleaning. At least you don't have to worry about catching COVID here in the slums of Rome. You know, there's been a plague going around. People are dropping like flies, and the emperor has shut down the aqueducts to the city. But as long as you can stay healthy, you can make money in this town, even if it's just begging for coins or picking pockets. That's what you're gonna do today. Pickpockets. It's not ideal, but beggars can't be choosers. The main reason the emperor stopped the flow of fresh water is because of the people. There are too many people in Rome. The city's getting overcrowded, and when you've got too many people in a small area, things start to get bad. All the people who come to visit Rome are funneling into the Tiber River, increasing its population by the day. And the river's already stinky enough. To make matters worse, it seems like all the taverns and brothels are right by the river. So every night the crowds come out and walk along the bank. They drink cheap wine, gamble, brawl, throw their waste into the river, and toss their fish food to the lions in the nearby arena. It's disgusting. When you were young, the fresh water from the aqueducts would wash away most of the filth. Now you're older, and you got to get out of the house earlier to avoid the worst of it. As you continue your descent into the street, the stench of stale urine mingles with the sounds of a rooster crowing and a cat meowing. A dog snarls at you from atop a trash heap. And although you feel pretty nimble yourself, you know if you were to trip over that pile of human excrement, the dog would tear you apart in a heartbeat. As you make your way through the insula, the tenement buildings of Rome, you notice a group of old men playing dice for money. You know better than to join them. It's either all luck, or it's rigged. The only thing you could possibly win is more debt. Further down, you see a merchant rolling out his wares. Fresh figs and grapes from the countryside outside the city. He must have gotten up even earlier than you did. Making it to the main road, you find yourself ankle-deep in human waste. This is the Forum Magnum, the largest and busiest street in all of Rome. People travel here from all over the empire to visit. The air smells sweet with the aroma of roasting meat. Vendors sell plantain pork sausage and fried fish. You'd love some, but you haven't eaten since yesterday, and you need that energy to get out on the streets and beg. Vendors hawk their wares. Peddlers try to get past you, and slaves drag carts piled high with olives, cheese, and bread. You weave through the crowd until you reach the place where the Palatine Hill starts to slope down to the Forum. Here you'll find a lot of tourists, and they tend to have deeper pockets than the common folk. You're not the only beggar here. An old woman hobbles by, leaning on a cane. She wears a dirty shawl around her shoulders and holds out her hand to a passing soldier. He shakes his head and walks away. She lets out a string of curses under her breath and limps off down the road. You remember her from last week. She pissed out a baker, and he threw some bread at her, then chased her down the street with a club. She doesn't look injured, so maybe she'll be okay. You pull your threadbare tunic tighter around you against the morning chill and look for a good spot to set up. There are people waiting in line for the public bathroom. If you time it right, you can get some money here. A well-dressed man approaches and drops a coin into your outstretched hand. Thanks, you mumble, hoping he won't stick around to see you use it to buy breakfast. Later, you sit on a nearby stone fountain and eat your fill. It wasn't so bad, but you're still hungry. You don't want to beg anymore. Maybe you could steal a loaf of bread. It's not like they're going to put you to death for stealing food. Still, you know, it's not worth getting caught. You finish your breakfast and stroll down the Via Sacra. This was once the most important road in Rome. It was lined with temples, government offices, and the homes of the elite. Now it's just a busy thoroughfare filled with shops and businesses. You pass a bar and remember that you're almost out of money. You go inside for a quick drink. You order a small glass of wine and take a seat at a table. It's not the best, but it'll do. As you're drinking, you notice a well-dressed man enter. He looks rich. Maybe you could pick his pocket. But you know that's risky. Getting caught stealing from someone like him means a trip to the galleys. You finish your drink, pay the bill, and leave. You need to get out of this neighborhood. You turn down a narrow side street. The walls are so close together here, you can almost touch both sides at once. At the end of the street, you come to a clearing and find yourself in the center of the Campo Viceno, also known as the Field of Mars. You recognize this place from the gladiator games. When the fighting gets too intense for the stands, you can watch from here. You have nothing to spend on tickets anyway, and besides, you hear the screams of the crowds better from far away. You walk past the barracks of the Vigils, the Roman fire brigade, and remember that there's a bakery near here. They'll throw out day-old bread for free if you ask nicely. You hurry over and discreetly stuff the loaves in your tunic. Now you have a little more food to last you a few days. You pass an aqueduct on the way back to your insula. You think about how great it would be to take a bath. But even if you could afford it, the baths are probably full of eye-popping parasites. Besides, it's the middle of the day now, and the heat is intense. You walk slowly to avoid breaking a sweat. At the corner of two streets, you see a group of soldiers standing around. They must have just come off a campaign. Their armor is caked in mud, and one of them is missing an arm. You give them a wide berth. It's not safe to be seen with them. They might accuse you of being a spy or an enemy soldier. And even if you weren't, they've had a hard day and may just lash out. You stop at a vendor escort and buy an egg to add to your collection of breakfast foods. You're almost home, but you still have to cross the Circus Maximus. The chariot racing track is empty, but the stands are packed with spectators. You're curious to see a race, but there's no way you could afford a ticket. You've heard rumors that the Emperor plans on turning the circus into a public bathroom. That makes sense. You'd think they should have done that years ago. You finally reach your tenement building and climb the stairs. Your legs ache and your feet are blistered. But you had a decent day and you survived the streets of ancient Rome.